we are getting paid to do what we love, So it's, of course, a great thing to have at this moment.
No, I think for a lot of players, of course, it's an emotional moment not only to play at TI, but if you go to the finals, like he said, and his parents, you could see that they felt it too. I mean, they never really probably understood what it meant to him until now, where he's like, I want to be on that final. And if he gets there, his mother is saying that, all right, I would probably cry if he was up there, and it would be a very emotional moment. So, again, a lot on the line, but it's not just Note. I mean, this story permeates for all 10 players that we're going to have in our first match against Cloud9 versus LGD. Now, just a note, as we jump into the first draft, yesterday we had all best of threes for the wildcard play-ins, but starting in the group stage, it is best of twos. So it's a point system. If you win 2-0, you get 3 points. If you tie 1-1, you each take 1 point. And, of course, the loser, if it's a 0-2, you get 0 points. So that's how we will have standings at the end of the week. Draft has started for our very first match, LGD versus Cloud9. This is how we are kicking off TI5 Day 1. Let's jump into the draft and see what we're going to find out. If we see anything new from either of these teams, we saw some interesting things during the wildcard play-ins yesterday. So I'm sure we can look forward to some fresh picks, or at least something that deviates from what the teams have played in the past.
I think going into the group stages now, there are going to be different priorities for the teams. Yesterday we saw actually very diverse picks. I was very impressed with how many heroes got picked by all the teams in the wildcard round. But I think, for example, for a team like Cloud9, they generally have a different approach to the metagame than I would say all of the teams we saw yesterday do. We already see it here. They're first banning a Clockwork against LGD, which I don't think is their general first phase priority, but it's just a hero they deem worthy of a first phase ban against LGD in particular.
I think that's the reason for that ban was because mainly the Chinese team, sometimes they give away Lash Rock if you have first pick, and they reply with a Clockwork. They view Clockwork as a way of dealing with Lash, because you hook shot in with a Blade Mail. It's a very good way of dealing with the Lash. So most of the Chinese teams, when they tend to give up Lash, they would actually go for the Clockwork.
So you think in some ways this was Cloud9 preemptively forcing LG to ban Lash afterwards, which they did?
I think Cloud9 likes having Lash. I don't think they would be scared to pick that hero.
I think that's the reason why, because
they banned it to force a Lash ban.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, so they banned it because they figured maybe LGD has that trick up their sleeves, because the Chinese teams tend to. All right, well, that's a nice look into it. Afterwards, we do have SF and then Nagasiren being banned out, and Undying first pick.
Pretty surprising
for Cloud9.
That is surprising for me.
Yeah, I mean, a little bit surprising for all of us, for Cloud9 specifically, right? I mean, for other teams we talked yesterday, I mean, not surprising at all to see it yesterday in the wildcard plans.
Yeah, I actually expected a Tusk first pickup, especially because Yao is, I think, very well known to play it. I'm surprised that they gave it away, but I think Bone7, again, we discussed this before, he has a little bit of an unconventional view as to how to approach picks. He picks unusual offlaners for himself. He picks Envy, sometimes pretty unusual carries. I think they like, tend towards stuff like Luna a lot, even when she's not very popular, and even very different mids for Fada. So overall, their draft is going to be a little bit unpredictable.
Yeah, and it's one thing that LGD play good Tusk, but I think Cloud9 do as well. They love playing it on no-tail.
Yes.
They are going to let it go and get the Queen of Pain instead. This looks like what could potentially be the makings of an aggressive dual lane. The Quap Undying lane is actually very powerful.
Quap plus Undying is very strong. Even against a lane that is like a Gyros lane, Quap and Undying could potentially deal a lot of damage in the lane if LGD somehow have a very weak lane support with the Gyro.
Okay, well, Winter, yesterday we talked about, I mean, especially 3 of these heroes, right? Undying, Gyro, and then Quap, as you guys just mentioned. But what does Cloud9 need to either pick or ban here to make sure that they can secure that setup for the Undying? Or do they now just worry about that separately? All right, we've got that duo set up, then let's look at how we want to round out the rest of the team.
I think they might actually go for a lineup that actually fights very well, because they have Tusk and Gyro. I think when you have those 2 heroes, you're not too afraid of going into the Tombstone. If you have somewhat a decent laning phase, and you can start taking towers maybe at minute 10 to 15, like all the tier 1 towers. So if you want to go to a fighting route, maybe you can go for supports that are actually like a team fight type of supports, like Witch Doctor, Earthshaker, this type of supports.
Okay. Well, going on with our bans, DK Anti-Image and then Viper being banned out. Let's take a look at Cloud9. Looking, No-Tail looking a little bit relaxed. Their first game in all of TI. And looking fairly relaxed. Same with LGD, of course. Not too much pressure. I mean, yeah, every point matters, but at the same time, nothing has been decided yet. Everyone's still at ground zero, right? Everyone's at 0 points, so you can try to feel things out in this best of 2.
Interesting to see Cloud9 ban out two heroes that technically could work with their draft as well, right? Both
Yeah.
Dragon Knight and Viper actually fit very well together with Undying because
Yeah.
they peak around the same time. They want to go and push towers. Viper's a good mech carrier. Dragon Knight with Dragon Form, of course, good at taking down tier 1s especially.
Do you think
So
it might
maybe
be
they're taking it in a different direction then.
Yeah, do you think it might be a throw-off? Like we pick Undying, then we go for some split push thingy instead of when you pick Undying.
I wouldn't put it past them.
Yeah, you usually think, okay, Undying, they're gonna go 5-man. Then they pick Undying, then they have some quarters, some sort of split push lineup to throw the opponent off.
What about Phoenix? I think they like Phoenix a lot.
Yeah.
And
Oh, Phoenix plus Tombstone
They
is
like
really
Tombstone?
strong together.
It's incredibly powerful.
I haven't seen them pick it up too much recently, but I think a couple of months ago they just picked that hero first pick every single time.
And I expect the Undying to be more or less a support, like played by No-Tail, more or less, most likely him.
There's still the option of running a Pugna if they wanted to try that together with the
Oh, the
Undying.
decrep
That
on the
is
Tombstone.
Decrepifying the Tombstone,
Yeah.
pushing towers with Nether Blast is really good. Alternatively, maybe Cloud9 pick up the Undying, like you said, to throw the enemy off, but rather than playing a split push strategy, they actually just pick the Undying so the enemy immediately thinks, oh right, they're going to run aggressive, they're going to try to pressure our safe lane, and then you can just pick a super hard carry because the enemy has already started drafting a defensive safe lane,
Yeah.
and then you just try to outcarry them with, say, like a PL for Envy, or maybe the Luna Ben was talking about could be pulled out, and she can actually get farmed incredibly fast if she doesn't get challenged. Her weakness is her how fragile she is in the super early laning stage, but if you can get over that, you obviously have a very powerful pushing carry at, say, minute 25. So that could be something they're looking at here. Undying is also great for the safe lane tri lane, by the way.
Right.
In case the enemy wants to challenge, you're not in a bad position either.
Okay, so Cloud9 definitely having a lot more options here in terms of which style or which strategy they want to go for, which composition. We'll have to wait and see. I mean, I'm sure, obviously, in the next couple picks we'll find out. I mean, you kind of have to show your hand at this point for
Winter,
Cloud9.
yesterday you mentioned that you don't really like the Undying versus Gyrocopter matchup. Do you feel differently about it this game?
If you play it as a support and you have another plan, it's fine. I mean, I personally feel like the Lion. Okay, the Lion there, but I feel like if you are doing Undying, like what I meant was Undying with a heavy push threat against Gyro, I wouldn't
Right.
recommend
Okay.
that.
Right, yeah, and yeah, you were talking about that earlier today, too. I mean, depends on how they
What
want
you're
to do
doing
it.
with the Undying, yeah.
All right, well, Lion's been a talking point for us here all day yesterday. But I would say Lion's proven himself quite a bit yesterday in terms of his value.
Yeah. Any AoE ability to follow up after the Tusk Snowball is really important. Generally, teams prefer a safer one like Earthshaker, but I think Misery is really, really good on the Lion. He has proven time and time again. I think he's actually one of the best Lions.
Yeah,
Okay.
and it's a great pick, in my opinion, against Dazzle, because usually Dazzle wants to shallow grave as late as possible.
Oh,
and
right.
then all of a sudden you get that 475 damage nuke just coming in from the Lion when you don't expect it, and you can't hit your grave timing. That is very crucial against a hero like Gyrocopter, where a lot of the time, I think we also saw this yesterday in the wildcard round, actually, Dazzle and Gyro got drafted together to protect the Gyro so that even if he gets jumped, he will still be able to get called down, all his
Yes.
flat cannon attacks off before he dies. If you catch him off guard, like the Cloud9 lineup here just bursts incredibly hard. Soul Rip, Sonic Wave, and Finger is about 1,000 damage just between those three abilities, so he needs to be on his toes with the Dazzle this way.
The Xiao 8 special.
Support Lina?
Yeah.
Do you think that's support?
Might actually be Lina plus Tusk in the lane though.
Yeah, they
Okay.
actually run that pretty often in the off lane.
It's very strong. Like
Doesn't
at
maybe
disrupting
play
the farm.
Core Lina? Because it's a good matchup against Quap.
Yeah,
if they think
they
the
do,
Quap is
yeah.
mid, and I think they might
Right.
still expect
There's
And we saw
options.
that
Basically, there's
yesterday.
options. There's
Yeah.
a lot of options
Yeah.
with this Lina pick.
I think they want to see for sure what Fada's hero is before, because they almost always wait for EE's heroes last, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
And if you look at the first 3 picks from LGD, it's mostly like a lot of physical damage. So Lina is like sort of balances things out with that magic damage as well. So, I mean, okay, so this should be Envy's hero. Razor, safe lane. This is what I've seen from them recently as well.
Can it stand up to a Lina Tusk, though?
With a lion, I'm worried actually. I'm always worried when there's a lion on my lane.
Oh, we have been all day yesterday too, Winter. And I guess we got proven wrong once or twice. Of course, it's very situational, very dependent on the game, but gotta have faith if you're gonna. I mean, at some point you do have to take certain chances, right? And if you have faith that your players can be like, all right, Mister, you are one of the best Lions. We're just gonna trust that you can pull out the best value out of Lion this game, because you guys were talking about this. If you get the highest potential out of a hero or a team, then that could really flip the game on its head. It's a risk reward.
It's
system.
more important to cater, I think, to what your players are best at,
Right.
as opposed to what you think is best for this current luck patch. Same with Lina for LGD. Like,
Yeah.
Lina is not commonly picked. I mean, she's picked now and then, but LGD picks her far more often than any other team, I
Right.
would say.
What are LGD missing? So I personally think it's a mid Lina still. I don't think there's a bad matchup for her here. There's generally not a bad matchup for Lina mid. She doesn't really lose hard to anything.
Viper,
that
I would think.
Maybe,
but
yeah,
Viper's
Viper's
banned out.
So
They actually Cloud9 actually think it's it's a support Lina, and they're right. It's
Yeah?
gonna be another
Oh, I was
Ember.
about to ask. I mean, yeah, assuming.
that could still be a core Lina, right? They could run an aggressive
Plus-
trial in with Ember.
okay,
that was
plus
done
support.
yesterday. Dazzle, Ember, Tusk is actually pretty decent. Or they could run Dazzle, Ember, or sorry, Dazzle, Tusk, Gyro, which is a really powerful tri lane. But that would put their Ember safe lane one-on-one, which he
No, I
doesn't
would-
want against
You
these
generally
heroes.
don't want Ember
Yeah.
to go unprotected.
We'll see.
I'd say
It's probably more likely.
Yeah, it's probably a safe lane Ember. Sorry, not safe lane Ember. I mean a core Ember.
Okay. Well, so Cloud9, I mean, do you think Cloud9 has to base it off of one of those? Like, do they have to choose which option they're going to base their last pick off of? Or for them, what are they missing, right? Because they've got the Lion. Obviously,
I
they've got
think
the Undying.
they're actually missing strong lanes.
Missing a tank as well. I feel they need another tank.
Razor
Right.
doesn't suit that job, or Undying.
Or
I
you
feel
think it's
they
just too
would
middle
be.
ground?
It would be nice if they have Bristol back. But it's just a feeling. Just a feeling.
Watch it yesterday.
I think the problem for Cloud9 is going to be, it looks like, so when you have Razor and Undying together, you have this feeling that the game plan for the team is to try to push down towers at like minute 20 or 25, and
Yeah.
it just seems super difficult to do against the Radiant lineup. There's Call Down, Ice Shards, Dragon Slave, Sleight of Fist, and you even get Woven. If you start grouping up together to try to push the tower, Dazzle is going to thwart your efforts. So, and in addition to that, the Radiant lineup, with especially Ember, can actually put pressure on the map while defending. So
Okay.
you force them back. Oh, this is really interesting. This is a hero we haven't seen for a very long time.
some
but
time.
it's, in my opinion, Bone 7's absolute